Hello, I'm making another video. My name's Valerie Parente and I'm a writer. So I've been reading some of my poetry and then explaining what I was going through at the time and just analyzing it. So I'm still gonna look at the artist, the Muse, for now because it's been fun and I don't fully remember like the nitty gritty details of why certain things were written because I wrote this a while ago. And it's just fun to like look back at and rediscover on film. All right. I just pick random passages, a couple at a time. All right. Sorry, taking a minute. All right, Hindsight of the Falsehood. I thought a lot about things that weren't true and took for granted the innocence of something new. Some feelings more common than I realized, sculpted from hormones wrongly idealized, written off as young love gone wrong, no more than a dramatic falsehood all along, turning fleeting feelings into fixations, a pruning brain learning the process of iterations. But I am older now and I know the truth. New wisdom can only enrich my youth. This, I believe, so it was written on October 10th of 2017. And I believe this is about having a crush when you're young, like a kid, and taking it so seriously. Because, how high schoolers, when they like have a boyfriend or girlfriend, they really do believe that they're going to be together forever. And no matter how many adults tell them that's not likely to happen, you're not likely to get married to the person you're with today when you're 15. And they just don't believe you for the life of it, which is literally, like it says, some feelings more common than I realized, sculpted from hormones, wrongly idealized. Yes, a lot of things that you think are so unique. And I remember taking a child development class before, childhood and adolescence class, and you talk about certain things that a lot of teenagers go through mentally that they think is so particular to them and that nobody else feels, and that they're just this strange person that nobody will ever understand, that hence like the angsty teenager. But there's so many things that teenagers feel, adolescents feel, that they really think are so unique, that are literally just their hormones firing off and making them think they're special in some weird way, that when they walk in the classroom, everybody's watching them. Everyone sees every move. You don't even know what to do with your hands because you're self-conscious. Nobody's fucking watching you. Nobody cares. That's just one example. But love is like that too, or crushing when you're younger, because you really, at least for me and a lot of people I know, when you have a crush when you're like 14, 13, you truly think it's the real deal, and like nothing will ever change that. And like I said, it's not that it's not real, but it's like it's hormones. And the feeling of it's so special and nobody understands is also hormones and just something teenagers do. So that's that part. And then yeah. Written off as young love gone wrong, no more than a dramatic falsehood all along. And then when it goes wrong, you think that it's like this tragedy that is so profound and should be like a movie because it's just so tragic to you. And it's literally just a dramatic falsehood. It might not, like when you have feelings for someone, when I say falsehood, it means the person doesn't like you back, but you kind of you think since you feel something that they have to, because by default, feeling something so strong, you think, well, it has to be in the air and reciprocated because it's just so strong. Why would I feel it? So that's like if it was just false all along, there was no mutual fixation. Fixation, turning fleeting feelings into fixations. That's the OCD that I had at that age. Some of it was a little normal to get obsessed when you had a crush on someone, but some of it was not normal, and having it completely destroy your mood and break you for years is not normal. So the fleeting feelings that everyone has, I fixated on, and I prolonged it way longer than it needed to. I'm older now and I know the truth. New wisdom can only enrich my youth. Yeah, I mean, I look back at those stuff that I was once sad at and I just kind of like laugh and smile because it is enriched with my wisdom as an adult now. So that's what that's all about. This is just the picture. It's a rose in watercolor. Let's see. Interesting. It's a little romantic too. Let's change it up. Oh, imagination is not free. Here's the artwork. It's called Riches. But imagination is not free. Imagination is not free. It comes at the cost of your reality, a currency of what you should currently see, a fee you pay through entropy. You are charged for your actions of make-believe, while in charge of transactions made mentally. Do not question your own prosperity. It is the time spent investing in daydreams, which places value in every fantasy. Okay, so imagination is not free is about being a daydreamer, like a chronic daydreamer. And the point is that when you imagine and fantasize, it's not free of charge. It costs you your actual real life because you are taking time out of your real life to invest in this mental landscape that's totally not real. It's a little real to you in your head, but it's not like the reality of outside. So that's what it means by imagination is not free, and it comes at the cost of your reality. And a currency of what you should currently see, a fee you pay through entropy. So as time passes, the currency that is being, the transaction that you are making is, instead of currently seeing what's in front of you, you're seeing what's in your own head. So it's a currency of what you should currently see. You're spending what you should be currently seeing. You're spending it on this fantasy. You're cashing it in to have a fantasy. All in charge of transactions made mentally. Like I just said, do not question your own prosperity. It is the time spent investing in daydreams, which places value in every fantasy. So this is a good example of what I like to do, where I find a silver lining by the end of the poem. So it sounds a little negative through the poem because it's like, oh, you're missing out on life, and it's pointing that out. But the positive spin at the bottom, it is the time spent investing in daydreams, which places value in every fantasy. Your fantasies and your daydreams do have value. They might be make-believe, they might not be real life, but they do have value. And I know that because I've written out my daydreams and had a lot of good feedback by people who read it, blah, blah, blah. And I've learned things through my own daydreams. But the time you spent that you invest in daydreams is time that you are using time to pay for these daydreams. The time you spent really does end up, let me just which places value in every fantasy. Yeah, the time you spend is what gives the whole fantasy value. You're investing your precious time. We do not exist for a long time here on Earth, and when you when you choose to use your time with creating a fantasy in your head, just your time is so precious. That's what gives that fantasy in itself inherent value, because you are precious and your time is precious. And imagination is not free. It has a cost, but it certainly has a value as a result. I'm going to read one more. This is going to be a quick video. I have an appointment soon. I was just doing this while I wait because I got really early. Too dark. Too dark. Read that one. Ooh, I hear thunder outside. Normal by Valerie Parente, and here's the artwork. That is, I mentioned earlier how I like to use the tree branch, the skeletal trees, as a symbol throughout the Artist, the Muse. That's another example of a picture that uses that. So normal. Tell me what it's like to not obsess. To feel and not get addicted to the emotion. To be a fleeting presence of mindfulness in each moment. To care for a subject without surrendering full control of your brain. How does it feel to be normal? Because I never wanted to know until I met you. So, being someone who has some mental disorder going on in their head and who uses it to create, I for a long time preferred having these problems because I felt like I was given a gift out of it, and I was given the ability to express these problems because I've always been someone who's good with words, maybe not talking, but on paper. So I've always been someone who's like good at writing and creating art since I was a little girl, and I felt like I didn't want to be normal. I liked being this weird person, this mysterious person that people don't understand, who has weird thoughts and can try to explain it and get real people in. So I always really liked that. I'm not normal, and I knew that. But, hence the end, how does it feel to be normal? Because I never wanted to know until I met you. The times in my life when I've realized, oh, being the mentally ill girl, being the weirdo, it's not always good. And it's, every time I've thought that, it was because I wanted to have a relationship with somebody, and my quirks, my rituals and stuff make it very hard to have a partner in any way, shape, or form. So when I do feel like, oh, you meet someone and you're like, oh, I want to spend time with this person and do things and blah, blah, blah. And you kind of start hiding. Like, I used to be very open about, like, I have an eating disorder. But when I like someone, I'm like so ashamed of it, which is good. You should be. I mean, you shouldn't be ashamed. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. But you obviously shouldn't, like, you shouldn't place your worth on having an eating disorder, because that's not healthy. It's not a good thing to have. But when you meet someone and you realize, oh, I kind of wish I did not have a hard relationship with food, so I could just go out and eat dinner with them without being, picking and having a full plate at the end, and they're questioning what's wrong with her. When you meet someone that you really do want to get to know, in my life, it's always resulted in being like, oh, this disorder that I have been identifying with is not exactly what I want in the long term, in the big scheme of life. I want to be a partner, and I don't think, that, let's go back to another line. What is it like to not obsess, to feel and not get addicted to the emotion, to be a fleeting presence of mindfulness in each moment? Yeah, I mean, that's being someone who's obsessive. It freaks people out, and I don't blame them. If somebody was like obsessed with me, I'd be freaked out too, obviously. But being someone who gets these fixations and obsessions, you kind of make the most of it when you're being artistic and you value it. But then when you're in the real world and facing, having real interpersonal relations and interactions with people, you realize that's fucking weird. People don't like that. And you're not going to get far in life if you're being a creep. So it's just realizing, oh, maybe I do want to be normal, and it's because of you. It's because I met you, which is the greatest compliment ever. Like, totally, if you are a person, friendship, romance, whatever, someone who has really bad obsessions or any disorder, and they look at you and they want to be normal because of you, take that as the greatest compliment you've ever been given. Sorry, that's kind of pompous for me to say, but just take that as a huge compliment, because it takes a lot. It takes a special type of person to make you feel that way when you have these intrusive thoughts and reoccurring thoughts, and it means a lot. So, that was a quicker video. There's so many more. There was longer pieces that I wanted to read when I was flipping through, but I do have to go soon. So we're going to leave it at that. That was a little more lovey-dovey than I wanted, but I think it was interesting. So thank you. Oh yeah, and if you want to buy the book, The Artist, the Muse, available on Amazon.com. And I just suggest you would look up my name with it, because I think it's hard to come up with just the title. So The Artist, the Muse, and Valerie Parente. Thank you. Bye.